Hello dear viewers of my channel, this is a new video, and if you like it, then be sure to put a like, subscribe to the channel and write your opinion about the video in the comments, or you can suggest the next anime for retelling in the comments. Enjoy watching. The girl was sitting on the ground, and was covered with fear in her eyes and read that she was in despair. A little while earlier she came to the guild where she was given a uniform so that she could become an adventurer. She was told that as soon as she turned 15 she decided to help adventurers. She was given her badge of the lowest rank and told that independent adventurers could have a silver badge at most. The girl was also told that in case of emergency the girl could be recognized by her badge. The administrator offered to choose tasks for the lowest rank. At that time she was approached by a group of newbie adventurers who invited the girl to join them. The Nick was just short of a medic. They decided to exterminate the goblins who attacked the village and kidnapped the girls. The administrator also asked whether all the guys have porcelain rank, which is the lowest, and advised not to get involved in this case. But the guy was proud, and eventually the girl could not resist their pressure and decided to go with them. All the guys were in a good mood. They stood at the entrance to the cave, and then began to go inside. Although the girl was scared and hesitated, still continued with the guys. A few steps later she suggested that the guys come out and talk about the plan, but they decided not to do it, because they were already inside. In their opinion, goblins were the weakest monsters in the world. Then he began to brag that sometime in the future he will definitely become a killer of dragons. The girl was reassured as much as possible, and one of the members of the squad was a graduate of the capital's Academy of Magic. They continued on their way, and the girl asked if they had potions and other supplies, but it turned out that they had neither money nor time to buy them, because the girls in the cave were in danger. He also said that the girl could heal them when they were wounded, but in fact she could only use healing magic 3 times. Suddenly the group noticed something strange. At that time the girl started praying, causing them to fall behind their friends. They started to catch up with them, as suddenly there was a sound behind them, and the girl started to be afraid. Another started to say that they were walking in a straight line and it was impossible. As suddenly goblins came to them, they were scared. In their eyes read horror. The sorceress started to read a spell, after which she managed to kill one goblin. She wanted to repeat it, but as soon as she started to read the spell, she was attacked by goblins and knocked her down, after which one of them broke her staff. The girl decided to stand up for her friend and started waving her staff to drive the goblins away, but one of the enemies stabbed her in the stomach and she started screaming in pain. The rest of the squad came to them, and the boy was able to force the goblins to retreat a bit. The girl was ordered to use healing magic, and then she started to cast a spell, while the guys couldn't fight together because the guy was swinging his sword too much. He successfully started attacking the enemies, but one of them managed to pierce the guy's leg at the end. He wanted to continue the battle, but as soon as he swung at the enemy, his sword hit the top of the cave and the guy was in a terrible position, which the goblins took advantage of and started beating him to death. At that time, the girl couldn't heal the sorceress, so the fighter decided to join in and ordered them to retreat together. She managed to push the goblins, but suddenly a huge hobgoblin appeared, which easily caught the girl's leg. He started to look at her carefully and then several times stamped her into the wall. She was completely defenseless and the goblins pounced on her and started tearing her clothes. The girl watched the hobgoblin and the goblin started to do his thing, while the two survivors took advantage of the situation and retreated. The adventuress didn't respond and only coughed blood. Suddenly the monsters caught up with them, whereupon the girl received an arrow in her arm. The enemies pushed the girl away and started to tear off the clothes of the adventuress. Seeing such horror she could not help herself and pissed herself, which caused the goblins to laugh. They openly mocked her. Suddenly there was a hero, who confidently headed towards the goblins. Podden of them pounced on the man, but he easily sealed it in the ground, and then propylol faculum. The others also tried to attack the hero, but they were just as easily eliminated. The girl asked who the man was, and he introduced himself as a goblin slayer. She saw that he was a silver-ranked adventurer. He took out an arrow, then offered a medicine. The girl asked him to give the medicine to the adventurer, but it turned out that she was poisoned. She realized that it was the end and asked the man to finish her off. The naive girl thought that they could save her, but the Goblin Killer explained that she was doomed. The girl told about the big goblin and the hero said that he would go to kill the goblins. The girl wanted to go with him and he asked about her skills. She said that she could create light and heal wounds. The man started to cut open the corpse of the goblin and explained that he needed to stop his smell and finally wished to get used to the smell of blood. They got to the corpse of the guy, and the hero noticed that the sword, which he used, was too long for the cave. He also assumed that the goblins attacked from behind, and then showed the passage from where they came. He said that the first thing to watch out for is the walls, because if you do not do so, the adventurers are waiting for such a situation. The hero noticed that the girl was dragged into the middle, then threw the torch and saw the goblin. Then almost instantly he killed him. Although he couldn't see in the dark, but thanks to his experience he was able to pull it off. The hero set a trap and then they went into the depths. He gave instructions to the girl and then began to move forward, and as soon as there was light he ran straight and threw a spear that was able to kill the shaman. He jumped over his trap. The girl managed to do it, and the hero ordered to start sorcery. The enemies were blinded. A huge hobgoblin was killed by the protagonist, after which he poured gasoline on the big guy and eventually set him on fire. The girl got worried about the people inside, but there was no time for that because another group of goblins pounced right on the man, and he very skillfully killed them all. They continued their way and then saw a girl who was alive, but her mental state was just terrible. The hero approached the enemy leader and he pounced on him. The hero expected this and then finished off the enemy with one blow. The man found where the goblins were hiding the children and said that if the adventurers had come a little later, they would have been met by 100 goblins. The girl was very upset, but the hero explained that the goblins would grow up and take revenge. The girl said that there might be good goblins among them, but the hero thought that even so it was necessary to reduce the number of victims. The girl cried because she was sad, while the hero only counted that in the end he exterminated 32 goblins. The girl heard that goblins often kidnap girls, and newbie adventurers are often victims of these creatures. Girls who managed to survive, after all, went to the temple. The girl thought that although in the world such cases are constantly happening, she knows that she will continue to follow the path of the adventurer. Then she said hello to the killer of goblins and showed the armor that she bought. The hero decided to go after the goblins again and offered the girl to go along with him. The nature outside was just great. The girl excitedly talked about the fact that she would soon go to the city and asked the boy what he wanted to get from the city, but he was very upset, which surprised the girl. He was angry and told her to go wherever she wanted. The girl was put in a wagon. She said that she wanted to go to the city with the boy, but since he did not have such an opportunity, she wanted to bring at least something. The man said that the boy also wanted to go with her and advised her to talk to the boy when the girl returned. She still hadn't apologized to him. She got out of bed and stretched, then began to dress. She said hello to the hero, saying that he has always woke up very early. He answered her questions as unemotional as possible, and the girl thought about the fact that the hero always at dawn checks if there are any traces of goblins nearby. After that, he always checks the fence for stability, and if something happened and fixes it. This was repeated for 5 bodies. They had lunch at the table, and when asked if the food was good, the hero said yes. Then he gave a huge amount of money and said it was a month's pay. He literally went to work every day. The girl wanted to go along with the hero. They moved together towards the city. He asked if it was worth helping, but she refused. It turned out that lately there were a lot more robots. He said that it would be better if the goblins did not exist. The girl agreed with these thoughts. At that time, some old man started crying that goblins are a nuisance and asked that they be exterminated. The administrator checked the documents, then counted the money that the old man offered. Finally, he left. It was already the 3rd task for today. They realized that for these tasks will take only one person. At that time, the hero arrived at the guild, where the adventurer bragged to the administrator of his achievements and openly flirted with her, and she began to sell him a potion. Everyone paid attention to the Goblin Killer. Adventurers of the same rank looked at him and thought that he was much worse than them, and they also condemned the hero's equipment. The administrator began to display the tasks. The adventurers began to look at a huge number of tasks. Suddenly, the newcomers decided that they would go to destroy the goblins, but they were advised to go to the sewers. One of the men began to push, after which they got into a fight. The girl noticed that the hero does not take up the task because no one takes up for the goblins, so he has nowhere to hurry. He started talking to the young girl. They talked about how he might not be so overzealous in destroying the cave. He tested the girl's knowledge of how she knew everything about goblins. She answered all the questions perfectly. She had memorized all the tactics and tricks about goblins. The administrator said hello to the hero, then told about 3 tasks in which are connected with goblins, also told that the goblins killed adventurers and stole the daughter of the customer. The hero asked if someone took on another task. It turned out that yes, the newcomers went on a mission to destroy the goblins. The administrator said that she tried to stop the newcomers, but they did not listen. The girl wanted to help, but the hero was not going to get involved. The Goblin Killer walked up to his roommate, then wished her good luck on her way home. She thought about the fact that the hero had not returned. It had been 2 days since the hero went on the mission. At that time, in the very scene, the goblins were rejoicing around a bonfire and spitting over the girl's body. The hero along with his co-worker were near the entrance. In the past, the goblins attacked the girl's village where they killed all those living. They raped the hero's sister, who could only watch while hiding. Then he took up arms to take revenge on those bastards. Sometime later, the newcomers returned to the guild. At that time, the hero thought only about how to exterminate goblins. He literally enjoyed the process. He also remembered the newcomers who said that they chased away the goblins. But those were only those who fled from the nests. But the goblins who were able to survive become stronger, they become leaders. A hero for goblins was the same as goblins were for humans. The man was telling the girl that the man was now what he used to be. The Goblin Killer ordered the girl to prepare a spell. Then she used a defense that caused one goblin to separate from the others, and the others were trapped in the fire. The girl was upset that she had to use her power for such a thing. She began to pray for the other people who had died in this place, and couldn't understand why she had been given such an ability. It started to rain, so the fire didn't need to be put out. The administrator told the hero to be proud of himself because he was a silver-ranked adventurer. The administrator the next day prepared a new task and the hero went there, which pleased her. After he went home, where he was brought home by a girl, and also said that she had prepared a delicious meal. Long ago, when the stars were fewer, the gods of light met with the gods of darkness. They threw dice to decide who would rule the world. They threw them so many times that even the head was spinning. The Avenurists were discussing a beautiful elf. Elves were direct descendants of fairies. She said she wanted to see an orc bulk. An old man came up and said they didn't understand that it wasn't their language. A dwarf started to speak in his own language. But even so, the administrator couldn't understand who they were talking about. The ogre intervened, and he pardoned his friends and apologized. The administrator was surprised by such a strange company, because dwarves and elves do not get along at all. They were all of silver rank. The lizard could not boast of knowing the language of humans. He assumed that the one they were looking for was the Goblin Killer, and the administrator understood. Suddenly, the hero approached the girl, and as soon as they realized that he was the one, they were numb. She pointed at the guys, and he asked if they were goblins, but they said that of course they were not. They had business with the hero. The girl wanted to go with him, but he asked her to rest. The girl was very sad, and she was approached by newcomers who offered to join them. They did not understand why she was with him. After all, he is a silver rank and kills goblins. They discussed rumors that the hero was using the newcomer as bait. A beautiful girl intervened and sent the newcomers away, then started talking about the hero and how he was hard to deal with because he wasn't attentive. She said that the hero asked her for a very strange thing, but the girl thought it was obscene. She also said that it was hard to be together with the hero. She also added that he is an incredible man, and that even though he just slays goblins, he does it every day. He helps the world a lot more than monster hunters. She also said that there are many monsters in the world. The girl could follow the other people, but she did not want to. Finally, she was told that if she wanted to stay with the hero, then let it be her decision. At that time, the other adventurers could not believe that the hero looked so weak even though he had a high rank. But the dwarf said that the hero was incredibly well and professionally dressed. She said that he would at least sometimes wash his armor, but the man explained that it is necessary to hide the smell of metal, because goblins have a great charm. The elf started to argue with the dwarf, and the question came up about the age. She said that she was 2,000 years old, but the old man unpleasantly admitted that he was only 107. She started laughing at the old man, but finally the lizard intervened and calmed the friends down. They began to talk about the case, namely about the demons that want to take over the world. The hero explained that he is not interested and he cares only about goblins. The girl got out of herself because the whole world was in danger. She wanted to attack the man. The lizard asked the hero to destroy the goblins. The hero agreed and asked for more information. He began to tell that the army of demons wants to invade the world, and these adventurers were hired as messengers. And now a huge number of goblins were on the territory of the elves. The hero asked if there were champions or lords among those goblins. The elf did not understand, and the hero explained that these are the rulers of the goblins, which are like the human elite. Also, the elf said that they cannot mobilize an army, so their choice fell on the hero, who was famous for his skills. The hero immediately went into battle, which amazed the guys because they didn't understand how the hero was going to deal with it alone. He went to the administrator and said that he was going. She decided to give the reward without reporting, then asked to give the money to the priestess, and also he was going to go alone. As soon as the girl heard this, she started to shout that she wanted to go with him. He tried to consult with the girl, but she explained that if the hero does not give a choice, then it puts before the fact. In the end, the girl decided to go with the hero. At that time, the guys were shocked at what a strange and mysterious man the hero turned out to be. They sat around the fire and talked about the reasons for becoming an adventurer, but in the end, they started to talk about what a delicious meal was prepared. The girl offered the elf a soup, and she was very happy. The lizard said that his dream was to become a dragon, but the hero didn't even have to say why he went to be an adventurer. Everyone knew. The elf shared the elves' rations. The dwarf decided to give fire wine. The elf decided to try, and immediately coughed. After the old man offered the hero a drink, and he drank without any sound. The elf started to pester the hero and tried to take off his helmet. The hero gave the new friend some cheese. The lizard was shocked that people do not hunt but use animals. They tasted the cheese and the lizard started to shout that it was real nectar. They all praised the dish. The elven girl went to the hero's bag, but he stopped her because it was dangerous. She hadn't seen the scrolls, and the lizard explained that it was an ancient magic that allowed even children to use mania. The girl remembered that strange sorceress. Also, the hero did not confess about what spell is hidden in the scrolls. Everyone said that the hero is very stubborn, and everyone began to have fun. After a while, the lizard asked where the goblins come from. The girl said that they were told that they appear when they make mistakes. The hero told the guys that he had heard that the goblins came from the moon, namely from the green moon. He did not know how exactly they got here, and that place was terrible, and they burned with envy, so they came here. He was told this by his sister, who had died. The hero didn't think his sister was ever wrong, so he believed the story. The elven woman noticed that the hero had fallen asleep. The others also decided to lie down to rest, and the girl covered the hero with a blanket and touched his bronze. The next day, the girl wended the household home. The hero was not at home, which made her sad. At that time, at the entrance to the Peshera stood goblins, who wanted to sleep badly. The elf girl prepared to shoot and then made a volley. The arrow instantly killed 2 goblins, and the team went to exterminate the goblins. Long ago, the gods were bored of throwing bones created creatures in the world they were to live in. All creatures were destined for adventure, which became the new entertainment of the gods. At that time, the guys stood at the entrance. The elf said that it was not magic, but skill. The hero began to open the corpse of the monster, and then explained that you need to coat themselves with their blood, as goblins might good charm. They walked down the corridor. They looked at the walls, and the girl said that in the time of the gods there had been wars here. They considered it cruel, and also said that it was ironic that the humans had left and the goblins had taken their place. At one time, the girls complained that they stank. The elf promised that she would take revenge on the hero. Though they were used to dungeons, it was surprisingly creepy. Suddenly, the elf stopped the group. There was a signal trap in this place, which seemed strange to the protagonist. There were definitely no goblin shamans in this place, which meant that these goblins definitely had a leader. The hero was asked how he used to deal with the huge nests, and he began to talk about the countless ways to destroy the goblins. They decided to look for traces of the monsters, and the old man said that they should go to the Leo because they trampled the floor and are definitely there. The hero decided to go the other way and explained that they had to hurry and advised them to breathe through their noses so they would quickly get used to the smell. A little while later, they found a girl who was suspended. She begged to be killed. The hero decided to fulfill the girl's wish. The priestess begged the Hecroi to stop, while the prisoner asked to kill not her. Suddenly, a goblin jumped out, which the hero instantly killed. It turns out the hero immediately realized that it was a goblin. The girl begged that the guys would kill all the goblins, At that time, the lizard began to read a spell and a warrior appeared. The priestess decided to write a letter, and they sent the warrior along with the girl. The elven girl was depressed after what she saw. At that time, the hero was able to find a map of the ruins, then he made sure of what the old man said. He threw the map down and ordered the elven girl to carry it. She killed one of the goblins, and they continued their advance on the place. Then the next goblin managed to survive the attack, but in time the hero intervened and destroyed the enemy. A little while later, it turned out that the priestess had 2 spells left. The lizard had 1, and the Styrian had 4. The priestess offered the elf to drink, but the hero told her not to drink so much, and to eat, as it will have a bad effect on her condition. He offered the girl to leave, but she was angry and determined to finish the job. The old man asked the elf not to shout, and offered to avenge the monsters for what they had done. The mood of the team realized, and they continued on their way. They reached a strange place that was very high. They saw the enemies, and there were a lot of them, but the hero was already able to come up with a plan. The enemy woke up, after which he saw an old man in front of him, who was singing and dancing, after which he dusted alcohol. The goblin grabbed his throat. At that time, the priestess started to prepare a spell. Thanks to the opiate and silence, all the goblins fell asleep, and now they couldn't make any noise, and the team started to kill the goblins one by one. The elfess was cutting the enemies with special enthusiasm. They kept on slaying the enemies. The elven girl watched the hero killing the goblins with their own weapons. Then she realized that the hero was doing the same thing all by himself. The guys finished with their task and started to move according to the hero's instructions. But suddenly they heard heavy footsteps, and just a moment later they saw an ogre in front of them. He began to speak to them and complained about the strength of his subordinates. The priestess reacted and began to prepare a fireball, and then the attack began to take effect. The shield began to crack, and the girl prayed to the god to protect them. Thanks to the priestess, the guys managed to survive, but she would not be enough for another enemy attack. The enemy began to promise torment to the boys. The hero ordered to summon a warrior, and the lizard started the spell, then created a warrior and a weapon. The old man began to use his strength, and the elf was able to destroy one eye of the enemy. The old man attacked, but it had no effect. The subordinates were able to buy time, and the hero struck a blow that left a scratch, which immediately healed. Afterward, the enemy struck the hero, and he flew off. The enemy restored the eye, and began to swear that he would do terrible things to the guys. The priestess approached the hero, who was lying on the ground. The rest of the guys tried to fight the enemy, but he was incredibly strong and there was no way they could resist him. The hero didn't see anything, and the priestess told him that the guys were fighting. The hero ordered to give potions. After she got the potions, she saw the terrible situation the others were in, and the hero didn't waste time and asked for his bag, and then went into battle, even though he was bleeding. The subordinates believed in the hero. At that time, Vryag was preparing a fireball that would definitely destroy everyone this time. Elf and dwarf attacked with long-range spells. At that time, the hero used some power, and the enemy was instantly torn to pieces. He woke up with not full body and could not understand what the hero did. And he said that he slipped with a swick to get water from the sea floor, which under great pressure attacked the enemy. The priestess remembered her conversation with the sorceress. At that time, the hero had approached the monster, then prepared to finish off the enemy and hacked its head with his sword. The elf inquired how their mission had gone, after which the team silently went to the wagon. They began their journey, after which the elf asked if the hero was always so engaged, and he was. Also, the priestess said that he was very caring of those around him. The elfess said that the hero annoyed her. After all, adventures should be fun, not this kind of thing. She intended one day to show the hero what real adventures were like. The girls in the guild were reviewing the petitions for rank promotion. They started talking about the girl who was traveling with the Goblin Killer, and there was embarrassment on the face of the administrator. At that time, the protagonist was checking everything around him as usual. The girl was worried about the man, because he collapsed on the bed and went asleep. He really did not watch his health. The girl learned that the hero for such a long period of time traveled with other adventurers. At that time, in a creepy place, newcomers fought with huge rats, and the boy somehow managed to defeat the monster, but his sword got stuck in the body of the monster, and he immediately became confused. The girl intervened, who used magic that saved the guy and killed the monster. Other creatures were heading towards them, which made the newcomers retreat. The administrator explained to the young people that since they could not finish the task of rewarding them, and she also advised them to wash. They said that everything comes down to weapons and money to buy weapons they did not have. He hoped to borrow weapons from someone else. At that time, the protagonist was approached by the guys. They were surprised that the hero recovered so quickly. They started talking to the hero, and eventually the lizard confessed that he wanted cheese very badly. Then the hero gave the cheese to a friend and asked to pay for it in the guild. The elf started talking about how they were exploring the ruins, and also said that they would like to see the hero with them. He promised to think about it, and the grandfather said that the elf would confess directly, which made the girl angry. At that time in the guild, newcomer told about his problem adventurer, and he explained that the boy cannot even lift, and the other girl adventurer refused, but at the end decided to give a useful thing. It turned out to be a candle search. It will start burning as soon as he approaches the weapon. She was happy to help, and the man headed off to meet the adventure. The hero arrived at the blacksmith, and he complained that the hero is always breaking things, as well as the protagonist demanded scrolls, and the old man promised that if there was an opportunity he would buy. A priestess ran up to the hero and bragged that she was able to rise to a new rank. The hero rejoiced for the girl, and she noticed that it was thanks to the man. She was grateful to the man, then bowed, and decided to go to the temple to brag. The newcomers were talking to the others about the sword, and it turned out that the other guy was unarmed, and it also turned out that the guys were silver and the newcomers were completely weak. He looked at the guy's weapons and wished he had one, but he had neither the money nor the skills for such weapons. The newcomers were also advised to ask about ways to fight rats. The administrator went to the hero, but she was interrupted by the newcomers who asked about the rats. They begged for advice. The girl said to increase the level of defense. At the end, advised to ask the hero, but the newcomers have recently rude to the protagonist, but the administrator assured that everything will be fine. They approached the murderer goblin. He said that the sword can be taken from the goblin. Then as he learned about the details, advised to buy a club, because it is much more convenient than a sword that will break from a few blows. At that time, the administrator turned to the hero, but as soon as he learned that the case is not about goblins, he wanted to leave, and the administrator was upset. The man decided to listen though. He was asked to be an observer. The guys went to the dungeon, and with the help of a candle looking for a sword, and then they saw rats that were eating something on the ground. The guy used a club, which allowed him to win. It turned out that it was much easier to fight with a club. While the protagonist sat and watched, the boy talked about how he should be given the highest rank at once. Then he talked about other mindless tasks. He tried to justify himself with his expensive items, but another girl told him that he was lying, and that made the boy very worried. The administrator assumed that he went on a scouting mission, found the treasure, appropriated it, and sold it. The guy was incredibly angry, and then it turned out he was demoted and banned from the business. The guy was incredibly angry. He listened to lectures, after which it seemed that he at any second snapped, but he decided to ask for help from the hero, and he said that he would not help, which caused the guy nothing comes out. He instantly took out a knife and attacked the administrator, but the hero easily knocked him out. It turned out he saw the future and eventually decided to hold back and said that he would definitely take revenge. At that time, the newcomers were near the sword. They were attacked by a huge number of insects. It turned out that the guy's sword was swallowed by an insect. They decided to turn the corner. After the guy asked the girl to use a miracle and threw a candle that caused ignition, and the girl's magic was able to knock out the insect, and the guy attacked him with a bat, and after a few dozen blows it seemed that he managed to win. The guy asked the girl to move away, and the guy went to get his sword. The administrator complained that it was very scary. She thanked the hero, and also told how terrible it was in the capital, because there was a lot of trouble from men. She also said that she was relieved only by the presence of the hero. At the end of the girl decided to say thank you to the main character for his work. The friend encouraged the girl, and they decided that the guy will definitely do something else. The guy was incredibly angry because he had been demoted. The receptionist asked if she had done the right thing. The friend said it was right. They kept talking and mentioned the sword girl who was able to defeat the Demon King, a servant of the god himself. The receptionist said that they needed to prepare the papers. The receptionist said that she liked the main character. At that time, other adventurers were having fun. The girl thought that the hero was too cruel, but she liked him very much. The hero interrupted their dialogue. He asked for a task about the destruction of goblins. It turned out that the main character was chosen. At that time, near the statue stood the same girl who defeated the Demon King. The girl was suspended, and a creepy creature was approaching her. She was terrified of what was happening, and the creepy monster was getting closer. Strange girls appeared, who were talking among themselves. The demon did not understand how they found their base. At that time, the girls explained that the enemies could not escape. The girl used her power and destroyed all the enemies. This story was told by an adventurer. They were discussing the incredible power. While the guys were eating at the table, a hero came up to them, who was not at all interested in information about the hero and his minions. The hero told about the mission to destroy the goblins, and also told about the reward. The priestess began to talk about the need to give the right to choose. He also said that if the guys refuse, he would go alone. The guys also said that since the hero spoke to them, he became much softer. The priestess decided to go with the hero, and others decided to follow the main character. The elf decided that the hero would go on an adventure with them after this quest. They also asked him not to use poisons, fire, and water. The girls were shocked that he listened to them. At that time, the cart with the boys started to move, and they could see a huge water city. The elven girl said that she had been here before. They talked about the city, and the hero said that there was good food here. Then the priestess was shocked as soon as she saw the Temple of Law. She was literally ecstatic. The hero went inside this building and also said that their employer is the archbishop of this place. The priestess was very excited. After all, the priestess of the sword is a favorite of the god who destroyed the king of demons. They approached the girl and so turned to the guys and then asked why they came. And the hero immediately said that they came for the goblins. All the guys introduced themselves, and then the girl brought them in, and the hero asked where the goblins were. She said that a month ago the temple gave the girl an assignment, and her corpse was found in an alley, after which the hero began to ask a lot of information, and the girl said that the crimes continued. After which one of the adventurers killed a goblin, and most likely all the crimes were caused by these monsters. They could not understand where the goblins came from. At that time, the lizard said that the goblins were definitely in the ruins underground. The hero said that although the goblins are stupid, but they are not idiots. The girl said that they also thought that the creatures were underground, but in the end they all died. The girl heard a song about the hero. It turned out that everyone except the hero heard the song, then said that if the hero will talk about the hero, he will get more tasks. The girl asked to save the city, and the hero promised that he could only kill all the goblins. The protagonist said that they decided to go down into the sewers. After the lizard did not understand why the soldiers cannot destroy the goblins, the hero suggested that the soldiers decided not to send for Kakamogo goblins, and he was right. The protagonist went straight to the point, after which the girl showed him how to go down under the city, after which she confessed that it was an old plan. The guy gave the map to the lizard, and then they went on the mission. The priestess said goodbye to the girl and asked if the priestess was scared, and she said that although she was scared of the mission, she was sure that everything would be fine. At that time, there was a battle going on underground, in which the hero was smashing the goblins to smithereens, and the allies were also easily coping with the enemies. The elf took out an arrow. Then she explained that it was because the battle would drag on. They talked about the fact that there were too many enemies in this place, as well as the hero calmed the priestess. The elven woman asked the old man not to remind the horror. At the top, strange sounds were heard, and then it rained in the dungeon. They assumed that the liquid had gotten to them through the sub-channel. Suddenly, the hero ordered the boys to be close, and the elf told them that the enemy was close at hand. They stood at their posts ready to fight. At that time, the goblins were on the ship, and among them was the head who ordered the others to attack with arrows. The priestess used her shield and was able to stop the enemy's attack, while the hero attacked the head with his sword. The hero ordered a tunnel to be made down. Then he told them that the sewers would flood the city. The hero said they would need to attack right after the defenses went down. Yusher summoned a weapon and gave it to the hero, then asked him not to drop this weapon. The priestess' shield fell, and the hero threw a bomb, which made the goblins in pain. Then he instantly destroyed several enemies. They dealt with the enemies very quickly. The protagonist acted like a professional. The allies were just as good at dealing with the enemies. Even the priestess helped a lot in the battle. They continued their epic battle. After the old man decided to use a rock blast, which destroyed the ship the goblins were on. The guys moved on, and the hero ordered them to move on, as they were most likely spotted. At that time, a huge creature burst out of the water, which ate the goblin. The guys began to retreat, Because it was a swamp dragon, a ligator, the enemy attacked, but the guys managed to survive. They continued to retreat. The elfess suggested feeding the enemy dwarf. The goblin ships were in front of them, and the hero decided to make everything perfect. The enemies sailed on their ships, but in front of them appeared a huge monster, which began to destroy the goblins. It turned out that they used the monster to defeat the goblins, and the monster destroyed all the goblins. The hero said that goblins are a tribe of glabadolni, and also said that goblins learn quickly, and if you show them they will understand. The hero also said that he only kills, and that someone showed him how to drive a box. Also, the hero could not understand why the goblins did not know about the dragon, because if they knew they would not sail on ships, because they are cowards. The hero assumed that the goblins did not breed by themselves. He assumed that someone was definitely involved in this case. The girl took a bath thinking that it would be good if there were other venturists around. Even the hero refused because he was going to send a letter. So the girl was alone in the bathtub. She thought about their first meeting and also thought that she would be finished. Suddenly, the girl was joined by the head of the castle. She relaxed and apologized for frightening her. The priestess looked at the girl's body and was embarrassed because she had scars on her body. She said that more than 10 years ago she had received these injuries. She also said that the girl was very kind. After that, she asked her not to worry because she saw many different things with those eyes. After that, she talked about the hero because he was incredibly reliable. She also decided that he was doing a great job, but she also added that even the hero will disappear sometime. After that, the priestess left. At that time, the elf was moving around the building, and the men were discussing her behind her back as usual. She asked the hero how he was doing, and he told her that everything went well. The girl assumed that the farm girl was the one who got the letter. The hero didn't understand why there were no rat extermination jobs in this town. At that time, other adventurers thought he was a redneck. The hero bought the bird. After that, the elf girl got angry because she knows. They were heading down the canalization. They couldn't figure out why they bought a conare. It turns out that conares chirp loudly when they smell gas. The hero told them that he learned about it from a miner. They were heading to the place where the enemy ship came from. The elfess was surprised that they were going around. The hero didn't even know who the leader of the goblins would be. The priestess was worried that the hero would disappear someday. At that time, they arrived at the place where their map ended. The hero saw that there were traces of soot on the wall. Torches were lit in this place. It was supposed that there were adventurers in this place, and the old man said that there was once a war in this place. They talked that there might be buried people who fought on the side of order. The hero couldn't wait to meet the goblins. After that, they all went after the hero. The old man said that this place was very confusing to prevent monsters from eating people's bodies. They went further. After that, they reached a room. The elven woman reported that she did not see any traps. After that, the hero immediately went inside. There they saw a man who was wrapped in chains. The hero stopped the priestess. It turned out that it was a corpse, which is very long time. Suddenly, the doors closed and the guys were trapped. There were sounds of goblins around. At that time, the hero ordered to calm down. Konarika started screaming, which meant that they started to be enveloped by gas. They were in real trouble because they could not do anything about the gases, and there were no exits. The priestess did not know what to do. At that time, the hero gave coal and ordered to use it as a filter. Everyone complied with the order, and then he ordered to patch the holes. They began to carry out the orders. The old man did magic, which allowed them to patch the holes faster. The hero said that they should move one of the graves, because when the concentration of poison drops, the enemies will attack them. After they did what the hero asked them to do, they reported that the holes were fixed, and the hero ordered them to prepare for battle. The boys prepared for the fight and created magic, then waited for the battle to begin. Outside was quiet. The hero assumed that the gas returned to the enemies. Because they had fixed the holes, the goblins broke the doors and then began to attack. The guys attacked the enemies, and they tried to get through the shield. Among the goblins, there was a goblin champion. The hero decided to go on the attack. At that time, the guys were also killing goblins. The hero went on a fierce attack and easily destroyed the enemies. They could not fight back the strength of the team, and the hero chopped the goblins like a true virtuoso. There were too many enemies, and it was hard for the priestess to hold the shield. At that time, the hero approached the enemy Bosu and attacked the man with his powerful attack. The hero started coughing blood, and the priestess was very worried about him. Because of that, the shield disappeared and the enemies attacked the rest of the team. The elven woman was in the clutches of the goblins, and the old man tried to help her. At that time, the enemy leader approached the Erythian, causing her to pee. The enemy grabbed the girl and bit her, causing her to start bleeding. Screams influenced the hero. There was complete mayhem around. His allies were almost killed, and the hero began to remember the terrible events of the past, after which the bones of the gods once again knocked on the playing board, and the hero was able to biped. At that time, the man picked up his hair and went to the enemies. The priestess was in danger, but the hero began to strangle the enemy leader. He did it with all his might. Although he was at the limit of his abilities, the enemy became furious and began to attack all around, which helped the team to gather, and they continued the battle. The elven woman thanked the dwarf. At that time, the lizard began to heal the priestess, and the hero, with a crazy look filled with hatred, killed the enemy leader literally with his bare hands. The enemies approached the hero, but seeing his crazy look, it seemed that all the goblins were scared. The enemy leader began to retreat, and other goblins followed his example and fled, while the hero somehow stood on his feet, after which he fell to the ground, and at the last moment the elven woman was able to catch the guy, then asked if everything is okay with the priestess. They lifted the hero and then approached the priestess. The girl would be fine, but if she was wounded even a little deeper, she was finished. The hero asked the girl not to worry, and she was glad that she was saved. The hero coughed up blood. Then the cubes of the gods flew again, and the hero fell to the ground and could not move. A sepulchral silence arose from the boys. It seemed that the legendary Goblin Killer was dead. It was snowing outside. The boy asked what he should do, but the teacher threw a snowball at him. Then the teacher asked if the boy could kill the goblins, then started talking about how the boy was only hiding when the goblins raped his sister. The teacher talked about how the boy could not become strong, then started talking about how the boy could win only when he decided to. The teacher told the boy to answer quickly because then he would die. It was a hard riddle, and the boy said that there was no answer, and that was right. Then the teacher asked the next riddle. Then the boy said that the answer to the riddle would be death. This pleased the teacher, who asked him what he had in his pocket. At that time, it was a beautiful day outside. The hero was lying on a bed without dosses, and beside him was a priestess who was hugging his arm. The guy sat down on the bed, whereupon he was approached by a local saint who asked if the man enjoyed sharing a bed with two beauties. The hero suggested that a resurrection miracle was used on him. She said that 10 years ago, that she was caught by goblins and dragged into a cave. She cried and screamed. She also said that she saw the guy's face blurred like a shadow. She thought that he could disappear like a shadow. After she said she was scared and afraid, the one called the Maiden of the Sword was afraid. She talked about how people wouldn't understand her fear, and the guy thought there was nothing funny about it. The girl didn't understand how she who killed demons was afraid of goblins. She asked the guy for help and left the room. At that time woke up the priestess, who began to be very embarrassed. The man asked the girl not to worry, after which they dressed, and the hero said that his wounds healed. The priestess thought that the guy was overworking. Also, the hero said that everything was the same as always. The girl wanted to ask something, but the guys arrived, who were very happy that the hero was alive. They started talking about everything. The elf told how the priestess cried when the hero was unconscious. They decided to continue their mission, but they also decided to renew their equipment. The guys were hungry. It turned out that they were going to eat together when the battle was over. The guys arrived at the restaurant and praised the food, because it was really great in this place. The elven decided to go see what lay deep in the ruins. The priestess looked at the hero. Later, as they walked down the street, he wanted to help her. She was worried about the guys, and also asked the hero not to do something so stupid. After the girl complained that the man only said yes, yes, and that's how. The priestess thought that they would go shopping together. They wanted to go buy armor, as well as the girl wanted to repair her chainmail. At that time in the store, the man said that it is easier to buy a new one. He started to cling to the girl, but the hero intervened in order to repair the armor, and then provided a huge amount of money. The hero took the sword and started to sharpen and shorten it. At that time, they were selling ice cream on the street, and the guys thought it was some kind of candy. The priestess started looking at the hero, and he let the girl buy some for herself. She took it for herself and was very happy, because the dessert was very tasty. The hero assumed it was sweet ice, but it turned out that the scientist had figured out how to freeze water without magic. The hero paid for the dessert, and the girl realized how the hero knew so many things. Later they talked about how the townspeople don't even know how many goblins are under their feet. The hero said that in his childhood he thought that if he took a step he would inevitably fall. He was surprised by people who didn't care. They said that the hero's heart still sank with fear, and he also said that he didn't need help. The girl gobbled and said that she can do whatever she wants. She also added that it is very difficult together with the hero, and he apologized. And she also said that she was afraid of a lot of things too. At that time the guys arrived at the place and complained that they were forced to come here. The sorceress was glad that the priestess was all right. The hero thanked them for delivering what he asked for. The girl couldn't understand why the hero asked for it from them, but he explained that there was no such thing, and then confessed that he was using it to exterminate goblins. At that time at home the girl was talking to the Meskina. He decided that the hero will not come back someday, because every day he risks. The girl decided that the guy will definitely come back, and she will always wait for him. The guys talked about the fact that the hero should change his image, after which the elf was surprised that the hero was without a torch. They also discovered a problem in this place, namely an unknown monster that was incredibly creepy. It seemed to be one of those monsters that can't be called by name. The lizard threw a stone, and the eye easily vaporized the floor with its gaze. It turned out that the enemy has incredible power. They realized that the enemy would only attack when they entered the room. There was a huge problem before them, but the hero decided that there was a solution. Then he wondered how far they were from the city. The elven woman distracted the monster to herself, while the dwarf began to stun the enemy. And it seemed to work. The hero scattered wheat mocha around, after which the bone soldier went into battle. The hero began to give orders, after which the priestess cast spells of protection. At that time the hero ordered to close ears, open mouths, and duck, after which in the room with the enemy there was an explosion of great force, which instantly killed a strong enemy. The guys were shocked by such power. It turned out the hero also learned about it from the miner. The hero said that it was not water, fire, or poisons, but an explosion. If it hadn't exploded, they would have fired back and fired until the monster was dead. They began to argue among themselves, while they saw a strange mirror in front of them.